We are Mike and Jeanie, and we restore old houses. In 2021, we moved to South Carolina and bought a 120-year-old Victorian house. Follow along as we put the polish back on this Victorian masterpiece.
Welcome back to 1834 Restoration House. Before we get started with restoration, I'm having a little bit of problem with my sewing machine, so Mike is on the job. He's going to see if he can fix it. There's a clanking, clunky sound to it, and as I'm using it daily, I need it repaired. So
yeah, it was knocking really bad, and she didn't really notice it because she uses it every day, but I hear it every once in a while, and I said, hey, is that machine supposed to be going knock, 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 knock? And apparently it's not supposed to do that. So we've taken off the covers. I'm just going to go through it real quick and oil it up and see if I can get it re-lubricated and see how that goes. These machines have grease in them, and they tend to get dry and gunky after so many years, and they just need to be cleaned and re-lubricated. The biggest enemy of any piece of machinery is old, dried out grease. I'm just cleaning that up with a Q-tip and some alcohol. I want to get all the old stuff off first, and then I'll come back with some new grease and then make sure that this gets done every once in a while. I'm just putting a light grease back on there. This piece I'm working on here looks like the one thing that could explain all the knocking noises, because it's kind of a camshaft like it's used in a car engine. So we'll get that all lubricated really good there. And then I'm just going to lubricate all the points that rotate. When I first started this process, the sewing machine sounded like this. Just about that loud. So let's turn it on, run it, and see what happens here. Yeah, that's what it's supposed to sound like.
it's all cleaned, lubed, oiled, and put back together. Let's test it. First, just by hand. It's all very smooth. I will love that. Oh! Okay, sounds good. Let's try the pedal. Oh, that's beautiful sounding. I had no idea how bad it was. I'm glad he could hear it. Oh, that's beautiful. It works. All right, on to restoration.
We're taking advantage of a small break in the weather back at the electrical panel. Now, our viewers come from all walks of life, and you guys are good. So you guys, you electrician types out there, correctly noticed that I forgot to put the plastic bushings on these. And you're absolutely right. And I completely forgot to put them on before we started, so guess what we get to do? I'll take these guys back off and install some bushings. It feels kind of surreal actually, putting tools inside of a meter panel like this, because under normal circumstances this would be instant death. A lot of power goes through these things, but these have not yet been energized, so we're good. So I'm just going to go ahead and take all the lugs off. This is a plastic bushing, and it's designed to keep the cable from rubbing against the metal. This is why we put the bushing on before we put the cables in. So now that it's on there, we can go ahead and install the bushing. All right, now to the panel, take off the protective covers. Undo the lugs. Yes, they are very tight. And it goes on like that, which means it has to go on like that. 3 of these, down to here. This kind of stuff seems daunting when you think about it, but you know, it's not really that bad once you get into it. The main thing is, always do a good job. Always do a good job. Well, the wind just picked up. Feels like it's about to rain here in a minute, so I'm going to try to hurry. Yep, here it comes. Here comes the rain. All right, folks, I think it's time to close the panels up and go inside. We'll come back and finish this later. The rain stopped, we're back outside. Now let's go ahead and torque these back to 20.8 foot-pounds.
Today is a new day and it has been raining all morning. We are not going to get to work on our electrical today, it looks like. So we will get started on our bedroom again. This is the bedroom. It was a yellow wallpapered bedroom. And we've stripped all the wallpaper off and we've gotten quite a bit of the paint off of the trim. We've got one more line over here to do. And then the top trim is done. We still have the bottom trim, the doors, the door trims, the fireplace. We've got a little ways to go, but it's gonna be great when it's done.
What a dreary afternoon. Luckily, we have indoor projects that we can do, so we're going to do just that. Winter is a great time for this kind of work because it's cold up here, and I can't imagine doing this in the heat of summer without air conditioning. Whoever painted the ceiling put white caulking in all the cracks. Underneath all this white paint is an older beige color paint. But under all the paint is shellacked woodwork. Beautiful shellacked woodwork. So when we're all done here, we'll clean this up and we'll get the remaining traces of white paint off. And then we'll refresh the old shellac with new shellac. The neat thing about all this old wood up here is it still has the old patina. It doesn't look like it just came off the hardware store shelf. It has that color that you can only get from age. There's also a danger in this, though. If I keep it too hot or keep the heat on it for too long, it'll actually scorch the wood, which is no good. Restoring a house is not quick or simple or easy, but it takes a lot of work and dedication and patience. At some point in the past, this room was painted, and they covered up all this beautiful woodwork. And what took them maybe a couple of hours to cover over has taken us quite a long time to uncover. So the moral of the story here is, if you have historic woodwork, don't paint it, please. This paint just peels off so easy. One thing I've noticed after doing years of restoration is with the really thick paints, the ones that have dozens of coats, the infrared heater seems to get that off much easier than it does with a chemical stripper. Because in years past I've used chemical strippers and they'll get down just so far and then they stop working. So you have to scrape that off and then you have to go back and redo it again, sometimes 2, 3, 4 times, just to get all the paint off. This thing here just busts right through. It's incredible. I wish I had switched a long time ago. Okay, that takes care of this room. The crown molding is stripped. Now it just needs to be detailed and the rest of the paint taken off of it, just the little scraps that are left over. We're also going to do the ceiling. Speaking of ceiling, most houses built before the 1950s have plaster ceilings, particularly houses of this era. There's not a single plaster ceiling in this entire house. This is beadboard, not the paneling type that you buy at Home Depot. This is thick, 3/4 inch, real beadboard ceiling, and you can see it from up in the attic. I have here in my hand a large format speed heater. It's heavier and larger, and it's made to do a bigger area at one time. So I'm going to try and experiment here. I've dropped the shields down so that I can get the heaters very close to the subject, which means I have to be careful not to burn it. So I'm going to try to heat up a big area and see if I can get it to smoke and bubble. Okay, it looks like it's bubbling, which is what we want. Okay, it did exactly what I wanted it to do. So now I'm going to come over here and do the next part next to it. Now you notice I haven't done a thing other than just basically burn it.
Here's the tools. I don't know if you need them yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
My thinking here is that if I can basically burn the paint and break the bond, then I might be able to go back and scrape off at least most of it after it's cooled. So I'm just going to do 4 quadrants here and see how it works. Okay. All right, now that that's done, I'm going to take the tool and let's see what happens. Nothing. Well, I guess that's not a viable option. So it looks like I'm going to have to heat and then scrape while it's still hot. Look at that beautiful wood up there. Well, I found the problem. The crown moldings had a coating of shellac which sealed the wood, and then the paint was applied over the top of that. These boards here did not have shellac on them, and they were just painted over, and so the paint actually got into the pores of the wood a little bit, and that's why it's holding on so much better than it did on the crown moldings. But it still comes off. It's just going to take a little bit of effort. Given the fact that I'm working overhead and this thing is heavy, I might have better results with the Cobra. I switched back to the Cobra, which puts out more heat in a concentrated area, and that seems to be doing the job a little bit better. The big speed heater is advertised as being really good for doors, windows, and flat surfaces, where you can just set the thing down on it. Trying to work overhead is really not a lot of fun, Don't worry about the grooves. We'll go back later with a different tool and clean them out. I've been working at this for a few minutes, and the Cobra definitely gets it done faster than the speed heater does. I think the Cobra just has more concentrated power. So there are different tools for different jobs. If you're listening close, you can hear the sizzling of the paint. It goes from cold to boiling in just a matter of seconds. There it goes. Look at all this beautiful beadboard up here. Absolutely wonderful. This wood here is 120 years old and is in perfect condition. This section here was already peeling, and I'm not really sure why it was peeling. I don't see any sign of water damage.
That is a lot of work, but it sure looks good.
Yes, it does. There's some beautiful wood up there under all that paint.
Yes, there is. This room will look fantastic when we're done. Well, thank you for watching 1834 Restoration House. If you like this type of video, please subscribe. We're so close to 10,000. See you in the next video.